Bilal Coulibaly is back for the Washington Wizards. He provides a big spark on the defensive side of the basketball, but it might shake up some things rotation-wise. Let's talk about it today here on Locked On.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
DC family, you're locked on to the Washington Wizards, where you're part of our family. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team, the Washington Wizards, every day. Subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, alongside the DC Sports content creating Cysvon Abdullah Ayubi. I'm Ben Strober, and I cover all things DC Sports for 106.7 The Fan and the Team 980 right here in Washington. AB Bilal makes his season debut tonight. Missed the first week of the season after having surgery on his thumb, on the shooting hand. And it's going to be good to see him out there tonight. Probably going to work his way back into the rotation slowly. Don't expect him to start early on, but a big get for Washington defensively tonight.
Yep, arguably your best defender on this team, Ben. And when you already have defenders like Kyshawn George, Alex Sarr on this team, it only helps. And I think his presence tonight, whenever he's in the game, we obviously want him to guard SGA, arguably the best player in basketball right now, who's averaging 45, 50 points. That's insane. But it's great to see Bilal back, Ben. And once Bilal is back and not on a minute restriction fully, it does make me wonder, what does the starting lineup look like? Because a lot of Wizards fans are already fed up with CJ McCollum and Khris Middleton, Ben, after these 4 games. And there's just no way you take Kyshawn out of the starting lineup. So we'll just have to see what Coach Chief does.
Yeah, we're going to discuss all the possibilities, what happens with the rotation as we roll throughout the episode here. We're also going to talk about Alex Sarr, his development that we've seen through the first couple of games. Got some good stats for you to break down why we think he's really broken out offensively here in year number 2. And then we'll preview the upcoming matchup. And also, be able to throw this out there, might as well, since we got the news this morning. John Wall joining Monumental Sports Network's pregame coverage. He'll be an in-studio analyst with Brendan Haywood as well, so good to see that. Good to see John back covering the Washington Wizards. So hopefully we'll get to see him in the building at some point. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But AB, it's such a big get to finally have Bilal Coulibaly back. And I know at times throughout the offseason, you and I have been a little bit hard on him because of the idea that he hasn't been able to play in a full season yet. In his career, health has been a bit of a concern. Maybe we've seen some concerns with his offensive game. But after the first 4 games of the season, you can truly feel how impactful he is on the defensive side of the basketball because he wasn't out there. I just think back to the night against the Charlotte Hornets in the second half, where you run the lineup out there where you have Corey Kispert or Trey Johnson guarding LaMelo Ball. It's in those moments where you really missed your best defender perimeter-wise on the team. And I think Coulibaly, through the first 2 years of his career, proved how valuable he is as an asset on the defensive side of the basketball, the ability to pick up number 1 options on the other team and guard them really effectively, pick up at half court, force them into double teams, force them into making bad decisions. You didn't have that against LaMelo Ball. You didn't have that against Tyrese Maxey. And yeah, obviously Kyshawn George might be one of the best defenders on this team already alongside Bilal Coulibaly, but to have a potential lineup where you have those two on the floor defensively at some point, maybe you see it tonight or eventually become the normal lineup a couple weeks from now, you're going to get a big boost to this defense that I think was actually playing relatively well, considerably speaking, how compared to how you thought they might be when they entered the season. You kind of had a feeling that they'd struggle defensively. They would struggle to rebound the basketball. I think they kind of outkicked their coverage so far defensively, and obviously it's going to fluctuate. It's going to change over the course of an 82-game season, and you gave up 88 points in the second half alone against Charlotte. They had made some strides, though, defensively, and Bilal is going to make them even better from that realm. They're going to be a little bit more competitive maybe than I thought with Bilal back in the line. I'm not saying it's going to lead to many more wins, but it's going to help them avoid what happened in the second half against Charlotte.
100%, I agree with you, man. They haven't announced if there's a certain amount of minutes that he's playing, right? Or are we just assuming that it's a minute restriction?
They said he'll be a feature in the rotation, so he'll be part of the rotation tonight. That's what we should expect here against the Oklahoma City Thunder. But you're not going to see him start this game. I think they're going to work him back relatively slowly, maybe over the next week or so. You see him get back into shape before maybe there's a change in the starting lineup. He said he feels like he's in great shape right now. He's been working on his left hand a lot while he's recovered from the injury that was on his right hand that required him to get surgery that had him miss this time. And I think with that being said, like, it's kind of just a slow process, and they're going to have to find a way to work him back as quickly as possible, but without necessarily rushing it. I think given how deep your wing rotation is already, it's not like you're going to have any problems where you're not going to have someone to play, because it's going to eventually dive into everybody's minutes as we get down to it here a couple of weeks from now.
So Ben, I know I brought this up earlier, but when he comes back fully and when he's ready to start, who are you taking out of the lineup?
Khris Middleton.
And that's without a doubt. Like, I feel like that's a unanimous decision, Ben. There's no way you can take out any of the young guys. It just, to me, it wouldn't make sense. I understand how Coach Keefe has his loyalty towards his older guys, and Will Dawkins wants those guys to maximize their value and eventually ship them off and get draft capital, but you cannot take Kyshawn George out of the starting lineup.
Well, I think the only other option probably at this point would be Bub, maybe. I don't see them taking CJ out of the lineup, even though he has struggled. He's been pretty inefficient so far. And I know we've seen so many comments saying you need to buy out the veterans right now or trade them right now. I'm not buying that. I don't think you need to get rid of the veterans right now. I still believe in the role that they can have on this team, but I'd like to see a little bit less of them. And Khris Middleton specifically, I just don't feel like they're getting a lot out of him right now. And Bilal, a guy entering year 3, a very pivotal year of his NBA career where you want to see him make that jump offensively and continue to build on what he's done defensively through the first 2 years. I don't want Khris Middleton taking minutes from Coulibaly. And even Bub, I know he's struggled offensively so far this year. I've liked his ball pressure defensively. I think he's gotten better at that. And even in the last game in the first half, I think Bub Carrington actually played pretty well, doing some things that he didn't do in his rookie year too well, like getting downhill. I know the finishing hasn't quite been there, but also passing in transition, Bub Carrington has seemed a bit improved in that. I know he kind of imploded in the fourth quarter and overtime of the last game, but that aside, Bub Carrington's a 20-year-old kid. I'd rather give him the opportunities to go out there and learn at this point. Maybe down the road, you see somebody else pick up the minutes that Bub Carrington has right now if it doesn't work out, but I want to give him more of an opportunity than I do Khris Middleton at this point, and that's why I think that he should come out of the lineup in favor of Bilal whenever the time does come for that.
Yeah, I think Khris Middleton, we're hoping that he understands that, because at the end of the day, he realizes the vision that Will Dawkins is trying to build there, and it's about the youth movement. That's something that we've always been preaching. And Bub Carrington, Ben, I understand the kid's a combo guard, and ideally, maybe he might not be fit for the point guard here in Washington, but I still think he finds a way to impact the game if he can't score the ball and if he's not efficient. He had this one nice outlet pass to Khris Middleton that led to a layup, and I just seeing things like that, and defensively the on-ball pressure, you love to see it. I think guys like today in today's NBA, especially young guys, where if they can't put the ball in the hoop, they struggle to impact the game in a different way. So I think things will come along for Bub Carrington. He's only 20 years old. He's so freaking young. He played all 82 games last season. You just got to be a little more patient with him.
I just wonder with this wing room how deep it is, how many different guys they have that need minutes. Who has their minutes dwindle a little bit right here? Because Cam Whitmore has been getting a decent amount of minutes off the bench. I think he only played in 13 in the last game. I'd have to double check to see exactly how many minutes he's averaging per game. Corey Kispert's been getting a great amount of minutes off the bench.
Amount.
Yeah, and he's had his moments where he's shined offensively in a couple of spurts, especially in the first half of the Philadelphia game. He was really good offensively, but at times he's really struggled defensively. We know that's the biggest issue for him. But which of those guys are you going to see their minutes cut into is kind of what I'm wondering here. And Justin Champagnie can't even see the floor for this team at this point. So what even happens with him?
Yeah, that sucks, Ben. Going into this season, I really thought Champagnie was going to have more minutes than Kispert, but I've been wrong. Corey Kispert at times gets more minutes than Kent Whitmore, and I don't know if that's a strategic plan where you want to maximize his trade value, and maybe he might be a key piece during the deadline, but for me, I just don't think he's part of the future just because, again, I always go back to he wasn't Will Dawkins' guy. He was from the previous regime. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle Corey Kispert, especially since he's on a team-friendly contract.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they can move him at some point, see what the deal is with that come later toward the deadline, obviously. Maybe McCollum, Middleton, hopefully those guys will find a way to acquire some draft assets for this organization. At some point, Wizards will probably have to take on some pretty bad contracts to move those guys, but we'll see as things roll along here. Now that Bilal is back, AB, I'm getting kind of excited about the idea of seeing Bilal, Kyshawn, and Sarr on the floor at the same time. That's going to be a tough lineup to score against.
Defensively, I love it. You have two really good perimeter defenders who potentially could be elite, and a great rim protector in Alex Sarr, who again is only going to get better. I'm hoping that defensively we're going to be better as a unit, and we don't allow 88 points in a half. And I understand today's NBA, everyone's scoring the ball at will. I mean, everyone's so freaking good. But if you have a somewhat, because right now I think, Ben, the Wizards are 10th in the league in scoring. That's pretty good, honestly, for a young squad. If you can find a way to not give up 130 points, 125 points a game, you can win any single game. I mean, again, I always mention it, or you were mentioning in the last stream, they were up 15 with 5 minutes left in that Philadelphia game in the fourth quarter. Which, by the way, man, I don't know if you saw, they were heckling some fan on the sidelines. Joel Embiid was going crazy. I'm like, I understand, like, no more victories, but come on. You're the Philadelphia 76ers. You have a really deep squad. You're really going to troll a Washington Wizards fan when you were about to almost lose to them? I understand you wanted to came back, but it's crazy.
Yeah, that was funny. It's impressed me with the way they've scored the basketball because they've been plagued by slow starts in a couple of these games so far through the first four, and they've still put out some pretty good scoring outputs. These guys can score when they get hot. Like the third quarter, they absolutely could not miss against Philadelphia, and ultimately defensively in the fourth quarter, they fell apart. They also fell apart in terms of their offensive production, but the main reason for that is because C.J. McCollum and Khris Middleton were a combined 2 for 12 with 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter and overtime, which is, a formula for losing basketball. Keith didn't use any timeouts to stop the bleeding, slow things down. They tried to run that same play that Sarr had the buzzer beater on against Charlotte, but they tried to do it in a full court set with 6 seconds left, which I think was completely unnecessary because you had 6 seconds. You could have inbounded the ball to Trey Johnson right away, try to get him to run up the floor, get a shot, give it to Kyshawn, allow him to try to get the ball up the court. You didn't have to throw it all the way down the court in a Hail Mary pass with 6 seconds left. So honestly, the explanation that we got for that, it still doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but it's in the past. I'm moving on from it.
It's crazy, Ben. I know, like you mentioned, it's in the past, but during that Middleton attempt at a game winner, Kyshawn was wide open in the corner with, I think, 3 seconds left. So
yeah, he was.
It's a what-if scenario. But again, Ben, I'll keep harping on it. Going into the season, I wanted any crunch time, clutch time moments, shots, whatever it is, for the young guys to take it. And so far, it's been CJ and Khris.
Yeah. It's been weird that it's been that way, but things could change, and it's a long season to go. We got 78 games with one of those being tonight. We'll preview that later, but next when we come back, let's talk a little bit more about Alex Sarr following his breakout performance. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with a brand new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move. Whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors, Peloton is the way to do it. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. I love how the Peloton IQ system offers real-time strength coaching as it actually tracks your reps, suggests the right weights, and corrects your form, making every rep safer and smarter. The swivel screen is a game changer. You can go from running on Tread Plus to strength training without missing a beat. And the personalized class recommendations keep you engaged. You get workouts tailored to your vibe and energy level each week. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Alex Sarr, 31 points and 11 rebounds, the most complete performance we've maybe seen from him in a Washington Wizards uniform in the overtime loss to the Philadelphia 76ers. He took it right at Joel Embiid early and often. The shot selection, great from him. He took 7 threes, which is the most he's taken throughout the young season, but I didn't have a problem with any of the looks that he took. They were wide open shots, top of the key, a couple in the corner. He gets his feet set. You get the opportunity to get a catch and shoot shot. Go ahead. Let that one fly. And I mean, Brian Keefe said, you're going to see Alex take plenty of threes. You're going to see this team take plenty of threes. It's about ball movement and taking looks that are actually good shots. And so far, Alex Sarr has really increased the production that we've seen from him in the painted area. I alluded back to this a couple weeks ago that he took 17% of his shots from 0 to 3 feet. And then in total, from 0 to 10 feet, he took under 50% of his attempts last year, which is a 7-footer. Why? Why are you not living within 10 feet of the basket? That should be your home. That should be where you dominate and feast and go to bed every night after a dominant performance. Well, he's shooting 67% of his shots from 0 to 10 feet right now. A massive improvement, a massive shift in the type of production we've seen from him offensively. He's got a new mentality where he really wants to embrace his role of getting it done around the rim. And I think that's why his efficiency has looked so much better through the first 4 games. He might regress back to the mean just a little bit. Obviously, a really hot couple of games here recently. But I think overall, what we've seen from him is kind of more like of an outlook of what you're going to see as he continues to put on weight and improve his game around the rim as time goes on here.
And some of those shots, Ben, that he was taking early on Joel Embiid, they were tough. They were fadeaways, mid-range shots. And it kind of reminded me, Ben, of how he was dominating Nikola Jokic as a rookie. That was his career night, 34. And he was giving Joel Embiid fits. And performances like that, you can build on as a young guy. I mean, Alex Sarr, I think it was a specific stat where it was like the youngest player to get 30 and 11, and he was in company with Victor Wembanyama and Alperen Sengun. That's great company. That's what you want to see. Alex Sarr, like we always mention, is the essential core piece of this group. We love Trey Johnson. He definitely can be that all-star, but if you have a guy, Alex Sarr, who can impact the game offensively and defensively, the sky's the limit for the kid. And I always go back to, Ben, how I know people hate me bringing it up, but they were calling this kid a bust after a couple of summer league games. To me, it's just absurd because in today's NBA, not everyone's gonna come out the womb and just be really good. You got to give him some time to develop. And I mean, I want to see how consistent can he be. Right now, I think he's averaging a little under 20 points per game. How consistent can he be with it? Rebounding wise, Ben, I want to see him hit that 8 to 9 rebounding mark, especially when he has guys that are smaller than him on him. And let's be real, like 95% of the time when he's on the court, he's bigger than everybody because he's 7'1". He got taller and stronger this offseason. The pick and roll game, Ben, his ability to roll off the ball, being more like just insane in the paint where it's just like just go up every time. The patience when he's under the rim, Ben, he takes his time, pump fakes, little things like that. That's what you love to see from the year 2 kid.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you brought up the pick and roll game that we've seen from Alex Sarr because our guy Chase Hughes of the Monumental Sports Network put out a really good stat. Small sample size, but Alex Sarr leads the NBA in points per possession as the roll man on pick and roll opportunities at 1.5 points per possession. The Wizards overall lead the entire NBA in that category for points per possession at around 1.5. So you can see the vision here with having Sarr more involved out of the pick and roll game and how that's paid dividends to the offense. Scoring output has been much better. It's looked more efficient. And Alex Sarr as a whole has looked a lot more efficient. And the opportunities where they work out of the short roll, especially when you have Kyshawn as the primary ball handler, because he's done a great job of getting downhill and forcing those opportunities where you have to have the defense collapse down or essentially make a decision. Do I go help off the pick and pick up Kyshawn, or do I sit back a little bit and protect the rim against Alex Sarr? I think in those opportunities it's allowed Sarr to get his, and then also a guy like George to get all the way to the rim and score. You can't really lose when you have a center that has the ability to operate really well out of the pick and roll. That's why the Wizards were so successful for so many years with Marcin Gortat doing it. He was one of the best screeners in the game and one of the best working out of the pick and roll with an elite level playmaker in John Wall. And that's why I kind of just hope at some point, I know Keyshawn's kind of filled that void a little bit here early in the season, that this team truly does find an elite level playmaking option to play the point guard position, because that's going to make Alex Sarr so much better. I think the main reason why, especially this year, he's been a lot better working out of the pick and roll is because when you have Kyshawn as the primary ball handler, or even Bub Carrington in a couple of the situations where he's worked well out of the pick and roll, you finally have somebody that's actually getting him the basketball. Jordan Poole, who was the primary ball handler for this team last year, a lot of the possessions where he's coming off the screen will result in a step back three and not really him trying to get downhill or find Sarr on those pick and roll opportunities. So the offense has been transformed in a new way that's allowed for Sarr to be a lot more successful than he was last year.
Yep, that's a great point. Again, if you don't have a really good point guard or ball handler that can get him the ball, it's going to be hard for Alex Sarr to eat. And maybe Kyshawn George steps up and takes that point guard role once Bilal comes back. But whoever it is, I'm hoping that they excel in that position. And I just think, in general, Ben, he's going to have a great year, too. It's only been a couple of games, 4 games. Is there a possibility where there's a point where we're going to be like, oh, he's inconsistent. I don't know, because again, like these last couple of games, he's proven that he can be there offensively and defensively with the best. I mean, Joel Embiid this season, last season was Nikola Jokic, and I really think Alex Sarr has potential to be a top 5 center in this league. It's just how many touches is he going to get? Is he going to be a guy who obviously needs to play majority of games? We'll just have to see. And I'm wondering how he does against this OKC team tonight, Ben, because they are a really good defensive team.
Yeah, there's a lot to get into with that matchup. We're going to preview it for you when we come back. And a certain somebody that Alex Sarr might be pretty happy about is not playing for the Thunder tonight. We'll tell you who when we come back. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier, but now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow you down and slow your team simply because they don't work together. That's not SaaS, that's SAD. Software to disservice. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. What do you like about Rippling? Well, one thing I like is how it removes the bottlenecks and busyworks that slow teams down. From onboarding to payroll IT access, it runs automatically and perfectly in sync. Whether you want to run your entire HR, IT, or finance operations as one, or just filling the gaps in your software stack, Rippling can do it all. Right now, you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/LockedOnNBA. Learn more at rippling.com/LockedOnNBA. That's rippling.com/LockedOnNBA for 6 months free. Your ambition just met its match. With Robinhood, you play for the win, not just on game day, every day. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and EFTs, options, futures, and crypto, all in one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood's Legends Advanced tools, or take the advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Wizards and Thunder tonight from Oklahoma City. We'll have the coverage for you here on Locked On Wizards. We will be live on YouTube for the watch party. Be sure to check that out. We've had a lot of fun with you guys that have tuned in for the first couple of road tests, with the last one being that game against Dallas. That was a blast to experience with you guys, so we look forward to that tonight. Man, the defending champions, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they are without Chet Holmgren tonight. Could this be another opportunity for Alex Sarr to go to work down low, AB?
Oh, 100%. I think, but I don't OKC they have depth with Isaiah Hartenstein, but if Alex Sarr can find a way to take advantage, because Chet Holmgren, let's be real, like he's what we want Alex Sarr to be offensively and defensively, and not having a guy like that in the lineup, it definitely is an advantage for Washington. It's just how effective can Alex Sarr be in the painted area with the amount of wings that they have, defenders in general. Like they have so many versatility. They have that. I talk about the V word in DC. The Oklahoma City Thunder is the embodiment, the team embodiment of what the Wizards want to build when it comes to guys being able to do it offensively and defensively. And going back to Sarr, I think he can take advantage of it and eat tonight. We'll just have to see how many minutes does he get, Ben. I've been wondering, Ben, when this whole minute restriction thing for the kid, is there a certain game or a week where we're just going to be like, that's not going to be a problem anymore?
I don't know. They haven't really said anything about that. So.
They've kept it really low-key.
Yeah, but, I mean, he played in 31 minutes in the last game, partly because they were in overtime, and I guess they were having him out there because they wanted the opportunity to win the game with him on the floor, but didn't really get to see him get opportunities with the basketball in his hands in overtime outside of the three that he made to get to 31. But this Thunder team, 5-0, best in the NBA right now. No surprise that they've got off to a fast start. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has got off to an extremely fast start, as we anticipated. He's not even shooting as many free throws as he was last year so far through the early going. He had the one game where I think he shot, what was it, like 25 or 26 of them?
That was insane.
In the 50-point performance. But actually the last couple games, he's not shot as many would expect. But he's still averaging 35 per game, so you absolutely have your hands full the same way you did with Tyrese Maxey the other night. But having Bilal back, well, I don't think he's going to play more than 20 to 25 minutes, I'd have to imagine, coming off the bench. every time he's out there on the floor, you want him to match up with SGA, and then you have Kyshawn guard whoever else you would think would be the best option outside of SGA on the floor at that time. Because I feel like defensively, you have an opportunity to really make life difficult for a lot of these teams that have great primary ball handlers like SGA, this OKC team. The Wizards have been one of the faster-paced teams in the NBA so far this year, and it's a testament to how they work defensively. When they've gotten the opportunity to run out and transition, they've seen success because you got a lot of great athletes, a lot of great speed on this young team. Maybe you try to go for that tonight. See what you can get out of Bilal in those limited minutes, see him work defensively. Offensively, I'm not entirely sure what to expect out of Bilal. I think he's going to have his hand on a wrap for a lot of the year, he said, so I'm not sure how much of his offensive performance might be hindered by some of the lingering stuff that happens from this hand injury that he's still recovering from. But ideally, you'd like to see this team force turnovers, get out there and run.
Yeah, and it's not going to be easy, like you mentioned. They are undefeated. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is playing, again, on an MVP level. But if you can find a way to defensively be up to speed with this Oklahoma City Thunder team who play really fast, but this Wizards team also plays fast, and offensively taking advantage of the 50-50 balls, you got to get those. And just rebounding in general, not having a guy like Chet Holmgren, he makes a difference in the paint area. So win the paint battle, win the turnover battle, essentially. And I think you can find a way to find yourself competitive in this game. And also, Ben, I was going to mention at the end of the show, but right now, if the Wizards and Phoenix Suns have the same record. I know it's early, but it's just something to look at.
I think the Suns are bad. I've said it the entire offseason that I don't think what the Suns were doing was the right decision. I feel like they were kind of emulating what the Wizards did for so many years. They tried to pick up the pieces as things fell apart a little bit. They paid Devin Booker a crap ton of money. Now they've kind of just got a bunch of mid pieces around him right now. I don't think Malawach is even really playing that much for the Phoenix Suns. I don't think the Suns have put together a good team, and I think it shows on the floor. I really do believe they're going to be a lottery-bound team, and the Wizards, if they do have the opportunity to pick in the first round, if they lose enough games this year, opportunity to swap with the Suns, I think there's a good chance it's going to be in play. I really do.
You think they're not going to win 30 games, Ben?
The Suns?
Yeah.
They might not. I don't know. I don't think they're a very good basketball team. It could be worse, though. They could always be the Pelicans.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, they have so much.
The Pelicans gave up an unprotected first-round pick because they wanted to compete, and now they're 0-4. And they have, no vision in sight of what's going to happen because you have to try to get out of it. The Pelicans don't have the option to just go and tank right now because Atlanta has the access to their pick. So at this point, Atlanta might have the opportunity to pick first overall the way it's looking right now because the Pelicans look horrible. They look so bad.
And it's crazy because it's one thing being bad when you have a young squad, but if you have the amount of talent they have some ballers on their team. It's just, to me, it's just how are you not winning games? But hey, that's their organization right now. We're focusing on the Washington Wizards, and I think, Ben, as much as I look at the record 1-3, the 3 losses, there are a lot of things you can build on from a young Wizard squad perspective. It's just, can you build on it? When you're up 15 with 5 minutes left in the game, can you close out games? Will CJ McCollum and Khris Middleton, vets who play in this league, who've had experience to the high caliber, championship experience with Khris Middleton. CJ McCollum played in multiple Western Conference games. When you realize that shot's not falling, can you swing the rock to the young Bucks who, especially if they're having a great night like Alex Sarr in the last game, or if Kyshawn George is going off, or Trey Johnson is on fire, can you say to yourself, let me swing it instead of taking this last second fadeaway mid-range shot?
Yeah, hopefully so. Should be a good one tonight. Be sure to check us out, Locked On Wizards, for the watch party. AB and I will keep you company throughout the entirety of Thunder and Wizards. That gets off at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be live for it. We'll be live with the reaction post-game. Should be fun. Let us know how you guys are feeling about Bilal Coulibaly coming back in the lineup. Who does he replace in the starting lineup if the time does come about 2 weeks or so from now? We know they're going to work him back in the rotation slowly, but who'd be next to go out of the lineup when Bilal comes back? We put out a post on our YouTube as well where we had a lot of you guys answer that question, but you can answer it down low in the comments here. Let us know what else you've noticed from the Wizards, including Alex Sarr, Kyshawn George, or whatever else you're thinking about here as we roll along the early part of the season. That'll do it for us here on Locked On Wizards. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. For your second, be sure to check out the Locked On NBA Fantasy Basketball Podcast, the best show there is when it comes to getting your fantasy lineup together. All right, for AB, I'm Ben Strober. We sign off.